Okay, we will move on to letter C. Mr. Mackey on the grant.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. So this is a solar grant that the BPU had submitted for. It's called Solar for Savings. And so the state and federal government are actually paying for the majority of this particular project. As it states in the summary, it's about $1.2 million project. And the grant is right at about $1 million. The city contribution will be about $96,000. Now, like kind of the TAP grant, until we pin down the final cost, they could change slightly, but that will be coming back to council in the final grant agreement, which we suspect will be sometime the first or second meeting in August. But that being said, the project is just a half a megawatt, and it's about 2 acres site size, so it's pretty small. But the premise behind this is the savings have at least 50% of it have to benefit low to moderate income residents within our system, and then the other 50% basically just continues to lower the cost of our power. When we buy power for the community, it's kind of like an investment portfolio. We buy certain types of power, whether it's gas, whether it's coal. I don't think we do have still some coal left in our portfolio, but we have hydro, we have wind, we do have solar, so it's basically a mixed bag of investment energy purchases. And what this is, this will do at the lease side is actually lower that cost because we're only be paying a bare minimum for about $100,000. So it will ultimately lower the cost for all our customers, just because of what we'll have into it. Now, if we had to pay the $1.2 million out of our pocket, we probably now would pursue this. But given the grant, it makes it very attractive and cost effective to be part of our portfolio. So, and quite simply, this is what goes behind the meter. So this will always contribute to our local electric grid. So it's kind of like the engines we put in. When the power goes out or the transmission goes out coming into the city, we will continue to have this half megawatt to put on our system as well as with our other engines. So it is a win-win at the price point, and it's just, like I said, it's small. It's only 2 acres in size. The airport will receive increased land rent for the site based on the market as opposed to what we get from our farmer, which is a fair price, and we bid that out. But solar lease rates are a fair amount higher. It should generate about $3,500 more a year for the airport.
It's about $125, did you say, per acre for agricultural use?
Correct.
Up to $1,800? Okay, very good. Yeah, following up on Mr. Bell's comment, could we get some sort of description of the, I don't know, maybe this will come in the grant packet, the lifespan of the panels, maintenance costs, environmental impact, cost per kilowatt to produce versus other forms of energy. And then I asked you about this privately, but the how this is going to work around with the changes in the One Big Beautiful Bill, the elimination of those tax credits. Those are some of the questions I have. Any questions from council while we proceed with this? Councilman Bruns or Councilman Morrissey?
Yeah, just the other thing that sometimes comes up with these is the other thing that comes up with these things sometimes is the issue of safety with respect to glare from the solar panels. Now, there is a 2021 FAA study for major airports which says that essentially it's not a problem because pilots are trained to deal with glare from bodies of water, skyscrapers, glass skyscrapers, that sort of thing. So I don't anticipate that it's going to be a deal breaker or anything like that, but it's something to be considered. If we could have some information about that, that would be good. Plus the financial things that Mayor Pro Tem is talking about.
Thank you, Councilman Warsi. Good points. Thank you. Yes, Councilman Bruns.
Mr. Mackey, so just to make sure I'm understanding, it would look like something around a $200,000 contribution for the city.
Correct, so it would be about $96,000 cash or equivalent, and then the other would be in-kind contribution after the BPU work, getting the line extended out and things like that.
And then it would be expected to turn about $3,500 annually for the airport. And is it possible, as we continue to discuss this, I don't know if this is feasible, to have a sense of the kind of savings that will be possible for BPU customers? It
Yes.
seems like that's also a relevant number playing in this calculation.
Absolutely.
Okay, good. Thank you. Other questions? Councilman Soha.
Manager Mackey, is the 96,000, I was to understand that that's coming out of BPU's budget and not the city?
Correct, that would come from the electric department.
All electric fund, and that is just for installation. We don't know the maintenance costs, or is that contracted out to a private firm? Do we have the capacity to maintain these in-house?
That would be contracted out to a company that specializes in that.
Okay.
It would be netted out as the annual savings.
Okay, very good. Councilman Wolfen.
But you had said some of this, the BPU contribution would be in-kind contribution where your BPU employees would be doing some of the work.
Yes.
Councilman Bentley.
Couple probably dumb questions. Why did you list the various sources of our electricity? This is, to my understanding, the only production of electricity we do, and otherwise we buy electricity as electricity. Is that fair?
So, the electricity we use on a daily basis is purchased on the market from various, as I indicated, assets in our electric portfolio. So this will produce all the time and actually lower what we have to purchase on a daily basis, or it's whatever the percent that it's efficient, because they're not extremely efficient, but that will always lower what we have to purchase on a daily basis. So the engines that we put in, the power secure units, we have two, one in the power plant and one in the industrial park, and the two big engines we have at the power plant, they only run when power prices get to a certain point. When power prices get to whatever that break-even point is, then we run them. And in some cases, we make money off running them because we're producing at, say, $300 a megawatt hour, and the market is $1,800 or $1,000. So then we make money running the engines to put the power onto the grid. But we typically don't run them until we are in the money. So.
And or mandated.
Correct.
And how often is that? I know we did it at the store, but have we done it this year?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
When it gets extremely hot or extremely cold, we can be typically asked to run the engines. And the ask is more of a demand. We have a certain amount of time to get the engines up and running, and if we don't run, then we are penalized for not running. But if we do run, typically we're making money for the city and the ratepayers.
And is there any way to guesstimate how much money this will, the half megawatt?
Yeah.
Well, what does that look like in dollars for BPU or our customers or the city?
Sure. We can have, when we come back at the next meeting and talk about it further, we'll have that information for you.
Thank you. Last question. What is the time frame? It has to be, we have to start at a certain time and we have to do the grant by when?
Good question. They're on kind of a fast pace, so I would anticipate in the month of August having the final grant agreement in front of council. So we'll have all these questions answered for you at that time, probably by our next meeting. But the timeline is such that we're basically looking at starting by the end of the year with this being up and running by next summer, late spring, early summer.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Councilman Suchel.
Yeah, I was just curious if I read these could have environmental issues, like if there's a hailstorm or if they get damaged, but we're only dealing with 2 acres, so I'm just curious what the environmental risk could be.
Well, they have improved upon that. I can't really speak to that here tonight, but we'll make sure to have some answers for council when we come back. But I will say, this does have to be American-made, so this is, under the Buy American program, so these wouldn't be China, panels made in China, they would be American.
Okay, that's good to know. Could you also comment briefly on the Coldwater Marshall project and how that relates to federal tax changes?
So there are two projects that the MSCPA group was looking at doing. One was a solar project in Coldwater, and then the other was in Marshall. Very similar to this, just a fair amount larger. They have more of a need for that power than we do, but they are still moving forward, though construction hasn't started. Again, if on the tax credits that are set to expire next June 30, you have to have a project started before then, and then you can claim the credits.
And what's our investment in that? How many megawatts?
It was about a megawatt, but this half a megawatt could come off that if we move forward.
Okay, yeah, I assume we will be seeing there's no way the state can maintain its mandate goals now with the federal tax credits gone, I'm assuming, but I guess that's a question for the legislature.
Yeah, that'll probably kind of create some changes for the utilities.
Okay, very good. Any other questions or comments on this item?